In 1929, G.K. Chesterton wrote that St. Thomas More's influence was greater in 1929 than it was at the moment of his martyrdom and death in the 16th century, but not nearly as it would be in 100 years' time from 1929. These words of Chesterton have proven to be prophetic. In 1935, just 6 years after Chesterton's prophecy, Pope Pius XI canonized St. Thomas More. Fascinating historical backdrop: the rise of communism, Nazism, totalitarianism. It was a clear signal and powerful message that St. Thomas More's fidelity to truth, his steadfast adherence to principle, his virtue in public life. Pius XI was raising this up at a time when the world was in such crisis and confusion. And then the 1966 film, A Man for All Seasons, starring Paul Scofield, which received so many different Academy Awards and honors, brought an even larger audience to really witness to the powerful and compelling testimony of this great saint, and the fact that this saint is relevant not only to Catholics but to the whole world and to anyone struggling to adhere to religious liberty and to promote religious liberty internationally or nationally. Then in the year 2000, Pope John Paul II proclaimed St. Thomas More not only to be the patron of lawyers as he had been, but to be the patron of statesmen and politicians. St. Thomas More was a great diplomat on the European stage. He had a great love for the law and a great immersion in the classics and in Latin and in Greek. He was a man who was very finely educated, and in his legal practice came to a great understanding of human nature and a great love for the law. At the same time, in the midst of his busy professional and family life, he had this intense interior life, this great sense of self-governance, this great sense of asceticism, this great sense of cheerfulness. And so as a result, when the pressure came, he was able to be steadfast in his fidelity, and he gave his life with great love. We see, too, one of the dimensions of St. Thomas More that sometimes is not brought to the surface is his life as a husband and a father. One biographer, Gerard Wegemer, says that he was a master as a father. He would engage his children with lively conversation, lively wit, always sowing the seeds gently of the gospel and a love for Jesus Christ and the church within these conversations. So he becomes, in a certain sense, a wonderful model for parents who, in a very confusing world, find those proactive ways to plant the seeds of the gospel with great care and love in their children. So with this inspirational figure in history, this inspirational figure in the communion of saints, we go to St. Thomas More to ask for him to help us to be vibrant promoters and defenders of religious liberty, vibrant promoters and defenders of the sanctity of human life. St. Thomas More, patron of statesmen, politicians, and lawyers, pray for us.